surfing the internet in North Korea, he may be punished with death. Number 4. Watching movies or shows. Even watching TV in North Korea may be punishable by death. 10 senior members of North Korea's ruling party have been executed after they were caught watching broadcasts from South Korea. The 10 were executed by firing squad for watching South Korean soap operas. The only thing people are allowed to watch on TV is state propaganda. In the last 2 years, 130 have been publicly executed for watching South Korean TV. Number 3. Driving or owning a car. Only senior officials are allowed to own and drive cars. Civil travel occurs with the bus or with other forms of public transport. Number 2. Haircuts. There are only 28 approved haircuts in North Korea. They are also prohibited from growing their hair longer than 5 centimeters, or 2 inches. Number 1. Traveling or leaving the country. Traveling outside the country or leaving North Korea is the ultimate crime. It is absolutely forbidden.
Or if you just don't have access, like North Korea, they just have no fucking clue what's going on.
Did you see what they were making them do for North Korea? What Kim Jong-un was making them do on Christmas?
No.
He makes people worship the mother of the revolution, his grandmother, who was the wife of the first dictator of North Korea. She died of mysterious causes in like 1949, and so like he is so anti-Christmas. This guy, he literally is like, he's like a character in a Dr. Seuss movie. Like he's so anti-Christmas. He's like the Grinch.
So they have to celebrate his dead.
They have to celebrate his grandmother, like the mother of the revolution.
You know
the fool's crazy.
The U.S. made 18 Korean cities disappear during that war.
Look at that,
and that's why 18 cities disappeared.
What do you mean?
In the Korean War.
We
firebombed 18 cities.
In the North Korea?
Yes.
Yeah,
and then that's when the regime started.
Well, the Korean War, when did that end?
50s? Sometime in the 50s.
Does Kim Jong-un...
It was a weird war, right? Like, people don't really talk about that one too much.
Yeah, they don't talk about but they did... I was watching a documentary about how doctors, they're allowed to go into North Korea and fix people's eyes. They give them like a month, and these doctors from China, they come in and they do the cataract surgery. And his assistant snuck in. She was a journalist. She posed as an assistant just to get in, just to get some footage of on the inside. So it was about, it is fucking weird in North Korea. It's weird as fuck. And that guy is crazy as fuck. But at the top of that documentary, that was not pro-North Korea. It was anti-North Korea. But at the very top of it, when she's breaking down what the documentary is about, she mentioned how 18 cities evaporated in the war.
That's war, son.
Like, exactly. No wonder there's so much hate for the fucking the U.S.
But that's not what their issue is. Their issue is their dictator is ruthless and is dominating them with fear.
But he bases it on that.
But that doesn't make any sense. He's doing it against his own people. What he's doing is imprisoning his entire country.
He's crazy.
Which is,
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Firebombing 18 cities is fucking disgusting. But
think about that.
This is almost just as bad.
He does have, it's almost like you could understand. He was an abused child. You know what I mean? 18 cities. Can you imagine if there was a country out there? If there was a country out there that firebombed 18 of our major cities, how would we feel about that country?
Oh, yeah.
You'd be fucking lynched if you said anything pro that country. It would be that kind of country.
You
would fucking be dead. You better. That's like Holocaust type shit. You bring up that shit, you'd be fucking dead. You keep that shit to yourself.
Well, that's what you ever talk to someone who's Armenian, who's spoken to an Armenian genocide denier. There's a lot of that Armenian genocide is a very rarely discussed Holocaust. I mean, not the Holocaust, but in terms of the word to describe an atrocity. It was a terrible thing, and there's deniers of that. And when you find an Armenian and you talk to him about people that deny the Armenian genocide, like remember Manny Gamburian? He won a fight, and I was interviewing him after the fight. And he was dedicating the fight to the Armenian genocide, to the victims of the Armenian genocide.
Okay.
And I remember thinking, wow, when was the last time you even heard about that? Nobody ever talks about that. Never. It never gets discussed. And I think over 1 million people died.
And I'm pretty sure L.A. has the biggest
Armenian population,
right? Pretty sure.
Hell yeah. You go to Glendale? Fuck yeah.
Wow. Okay, the United States dropped 635 tons of bombs in Korea, not counting 32,557 tons of napalm, compared to 503 tons in the entire Pacific Theater in World War II. At least 50% of 18 out of the North's 22 major cities were obliterated. Holy shit. Holy shit.
Right? Was I right?
Yeah, you're 100% right.
I mean, this is the internet. Are we in the library? Did you get that from library.com?
Listen, that is terrifying. Look at the images up there. Napalm bombs.
So you kind of...
Look at that, Eddie.
Kim Jong-il, or whatever the fuck his name is crazy as fuck, for sure. But you kind of understand when someone's really crazy and they've been abused and tortured as a child, you kind of, like, you have empathy for them.
I understand what you're saying. But, I guess the argument would be that if they didn't do it, like, what was the war over? The war was over communism, right? So what happened at the end of the war was that the two different countries, they became North and South Korea.
I don't know the details of
when was.
And then you look at the conflict that we're getting into with North Korea. It's entirely possible. I mean, they are moving nuclear submarines right now as we speak off the coast of North Korea. That is happening. Right now, as we speak. They were talking about it today. It's in the news right now. This is terrifying because if they decide to launch a warhead at North Korea, the odds of someone retaliating are so fucking high. And if they do retaliate, it's probably going to be Los Angeles. It's probably going to be, we're the closest. We're the closest to North Korea. And we're also the closest, I guess, we would be the target for China. I guess we would be the target for a lot of places.
Yeah, let's talk about this North Korea thing really quickly, because the media is painting it like North Korea, like we're going to strike back, really? When North Korea has repeatedly said, we will never strike the U.S. ever, we'll never strike anyone unless we're attacked.
What are they doing that we're so intense with them right now?
They are doing missile tests.
Missile and it blew up.
But that's how crazy the U.S. is, and we have historical amnesia where Americans don't know geography until we bomb somewhere, right? So we have completely no memory about the Korean War, where the U.S. military invaded North Korea and bombed, napalmed the fuck out of the country for 3 years, killed 20% of the population, killed 3 to 5 million people, left the country. We just completely forgot. North Koreans haven't forgotten. They haven't forgotten. They have a deep-seated hatred for the U.S. for a good reason. And Americans have no idea. We probably don't even know that we went to war with Korea.
Most people don't even know.
Like, they don't even think about, why is there a North and a South Korea? Like, what the fuck is this? You know, it's... So Kim Jong-un, obviously, probably what he's learned by now in terms of U.S. empire, imperialism, and interventions is that you have to not only act like you will use nukes, like you have to have nukes, and you have to act like you will use them if you get attacked, unless you want to get invaded. Look what happened with Gaddafi, Saddam, all these things. Assad, you give up your chemical weapons, and then it doesn't matter.
Well, I'm terrified. I'm terrified of this whole North Korea conflict, as I think everybody is. It's a terrifying place, first of all, because it's one of the last really obvious military dictatorships in this country, or in the world, rather. There's not a whole lot of them left, but that's one of the last ones. That's one of the ones that's like, you can see, they're so extreme. You see them goose-stepping, walking down the street. You see the people wailing in agony when Kim Jong-il died. Like, it's a very, very strange world where people are born in prison and they live as prisoners their whole life, and some of them have escaped and detailed the horrors of the prisons and what's going on over there.
That's what worries me, is because it won't be hard to sell.
Exactly, yeah.
People already are like, yeah, of course, North Korea is horrible. They have prison camps, labor camps, it's undeniable. So, like, yeah, I guess we should just do regime change there.
Well, that's what I was going to get to, is what you had said before the podcast started, that it's a massive reserve of minerals in North Korea. And this is what you and I were talking about, conflict minerals and phones, before the podcast started. And that they know that this... By the way, also Afghanistan. Trillions of dollars of minerals in Afghanistan. Conflict minerals.
Absolutely. That's probably why we're still fucking there, to be honest. 16 years later, we dropped that mother of all bombs, that like... dick measuring contest that Trump just laid his dick out on the table and was like, oh, I'm going to drop this giant fucking bomb, dust it off from the shelf. It's been sitting there. Bush wasn't even crazy enough to use it.
Seen those?
You have to.
Did you see the one where
it's almost too ridiculous. Like they are chasing him through the streets and soldiers acting like little girls.
It's amazing.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they literally have to.
They got to put on that show, kid.
Man.
Did you ever see
North Korea is
thing?
fascinating. It's very fascinating how that, like, it's
a terrible place.
Mind-boggling. North Korea is.
It's amazing. It's
watch
real.
those videos of people worshiping him. And then you watch, there's documentaries of people going in, they get inside, and they're like constantly being guided through North Korea. There's people with them.
There's fake sets.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And most people think, look, they're so communist. They're putting on, this is like they're putting on a show. It's obvious that they're giving them a tour of the city, but they're being guided the whole way through. They got people on them, and they're not allowed to do shit.
Did you see Shane Smith's thing when he went to North Korea for the
Yes.
Nuts.
Yeah. Crazy.
So most people are thinking, man, they're so communist or whatever, or the dictatorship is so strong there that, look, they won't even let people walk around freely. You know, it's like, it just seems like, is that what the fuck is going on with? I don't know. I don't know.
You think there's a conspiracy in the conspiracy?
I think maybe.
Is this a double negative? This is a fucking double cross?
They're testing missiles?
Did you see that shit?
Yeah, did you see that?
Is it for
He tried.
real?
It
Have
blew
you
up.
seen the parade? Show the clip of the parade where they show them, like the soldiers marching in a parade, and then
they're flexing on us.
and then they're bringing out the missiles.
They said they're ready to go to war.
Okay.
They'll show that, and then they'll cut to Kim Jong Un, right, with
Totally
his
different
generals. Like there's a clip of like they're like. And they're like kind of watching, and and then they cut back to the parade, and it's the same clip, and then they go back to Kim Jong. It just, I don't know.
You're not buying it.
I think.
Well, here's what you have. Let me just, before you go any further, let me just explain
I
what
think it's a
stock footage
distraction.
is. They use stock footage when they have stories on these guys, and they use it all the time. Where they don't have footage of the guy currently, so they have a story about Kim Jong-un, they start talking about him, and then they show stock footage. That stock footage could be him talking
No, but
to
this
his
piece
general.
was
That
North
stock
Korea
footage-
releases video.
I understand.
That's what it was. It was like, this is
Those
their
motherfuckers
video.
are trained
They put
just
it
to
together.
move like that, though. There's
Dude,
no.
I don't
you
know.
can't turn
There's
your
something.
head.
There's
It's a
something.
communist
they have
dictatorship.
They have fake cities and shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's China. China has more than China has
and North
reproduced.
Korea does too. Right out the border, they have like to
They do?
entice the people of the South to come to North Korea.
Well, they had probably a
I
bunch
don't
of
know,
failed
man.
ideas.
Terrible idea.
I think North Korea really needs to be looked into because
You think it's fake?
We're about to go to war with
Hold
them,
on.
son.
You think North Korea's fake?
I'm not saying it's fake. I'm just saying
don't
that
believe in North
I'm
Korea?
not saying that it's fake. I'm just
I
saying that
heard-
Kim Jong Un could eat.
I think
He
it's
might
all
be
hemp.
part of. I think they're all.